The video of a man being brought back to life by Pastor Alf Lukau dominated the news this week. But Lukau isn't the only pastor who's made headlines lately. Self-proclaimed prophet Bushiri and his wife were arrested in early February on fraud and money laundering charges. Bushiri's also been banned from Botswana. Now a city press journalist tried to investigate Bushiri's origins, but she was deported from Malawi before her investigation could even begin. Ntombizodwa Makhoba joins us now in studio, and we're very, very happy that you're back safely. But how powerful is this man if you just arrived and weren't even allowed into the country to investigate where he comes from?
Sure. Thanks for having me. I must say he's very, very powerful, for the fact that when I landed at the airport, I remember when I was handing over my passport to a security guard, already he knew who I was, he was saying.
So from the time you stepped off the plane, they knew exactly what you were there for?
So they had my picture, they know my ticket number, my passport number, everything about me.
Gee. Okay, so and what was the process from there? How long did they detain you for?
For 24 hours.
24 hours, and sent you back on the very first plane back to Johannesburg?
In fact, I was supposed to go back, deported the same day, but there was no available flight. So obviously the first flight the following day, I had to be back in SA.
And what were the exact terms that they gave in terms of their reasoning for returning you?
Nick, to be honest with you, there was no reasoning. At some point, I kept on asking, why? Is there something wrong with my passport? Why am I here? Even if after I've declared, I was very honest to say I'm a journalist. However, I never told them who I was investigating, and because I knew who I was dealing with. It's a very, this case going on. But no one explained to me. At some point, they're like, we're keeping you for safety, and they were speaking their language. I don't understand Chichewa. Come on.
And usually, just for the record, this is in great contrast to when most South Africans travel to Malawi. There's normally free passage into the country, northern neighbor. So, this is completely out of what regularly happens.
Exactly. We know Malawi is a very peaceful country. People are very friendly. I was expecting to be welcome, with warm welcoming, but for me it was different. If you can ask me if people from Malawi, is it a peaceful country? Of course no. What I've went through, it was very traumatic. At some point, I asked the immigration officers to say, can I use your phone? I was roaming, but at some point my phone lost signal, and they were like, no, you're going back tomorrow in South Africa. Why do you want to make calls? My family doesn't know where I am. My employers, they don't know where I am. So I need to alert them. At some point, they have to know where I am right now, what's happening. And what was very strange, as much as I don't understand the language, in between their conversation, they were mentioning Bushiri, and I was like, oh my gosh, without me telling them or declaring to them who I was investigating, which was a very, very strange thing.
What were you able to gain in terms of insight into this man, Prophet Bushiri, while you were trying to get into Malawi? What does the average Malawian say about him?
Can I tell you, obviously I wouldn't divulge more because, there's a case going on, what I was there for, just to be safe. But, you must know, Malawians in Malawi, they are against this prophet. They believe, when I was in police station, I was asking people, what do you think of the so-called man? We are a laughingstock in Malawi, South Africa. They were like, what? We are against his wrongdoings. Are you guys mad? Are you for real? Do you believe in his miracles? So I wouldn't say much, what I was investigating or to go into details because there's a case going on. I don't want to jeopardize the case. It's a very complex.
You're looking into these miraculous pastors. Why do you think South Africa falls hook, line and sinker? Not the entire country, but a great deal of South Africa's citizens are buying what all of these prophets are saying.
Can I tell you, it's not only South Africans, by the way, that have fallen in love, if I have to put it that way. Even other countries, I think people are gullible. I think we want miracles now. We want money now. We want, people are frustrated. Economy is not doing so well. You know, people are not working, they're unemployed. So people become and I think at some point, I don't know what they do to these people, this prophet. People are brainwashed. You know, you can't tell them either way about their prophet, what they believe, and, you know, they can kill you alive, you know. When I was doing this story, because it's not the first time that I was reporting on this particular prophet, I was interviewing his congregants, and they were like, no, Daddy, Papa, we love him, he's the real deal. You know, so you can't tell them, you can't change their mind. I don't know what is done behind the scenes. I just feel like they are brainwashed. Something, you know, and hence this prophet, they are taking our country for a ride. You know, have you ever read or seen maybe one of our South African prophet, go to a foreign country, start a church, doing miracles there? Have you ever? No. You know, it's this prophet from foreign countries who come to our country, you know, which is walk in their path, sort of, you know, and they do as they please. And I think it's time something needs to be done. I'm very, very happy because, you know, our president recently suggested that we need a solution. You know, we need a solution about this whole thing.
We wait with bated breath to see whether or not that's just lip service before the election. But what are you going to do now? You've been deported from Malawi once. Are you going to continue investigations into Prophet Bushiri and maybe other pastors?
I will never stop doing my job. I really love my job, and I think it's about time we expose what needs to be exposed, these bogus prophets. I will continue doing my job. You know, I'm really not scared. You know, it's about time.
The little bit of insight that you have gotten during your investigations into Prophet Bushiri and looking into these other ministries that come here and promise the world, the unbelievable, promise the world, but can't necessarily deliver on any of that. What's your message to people watching at home that may have bought into these type of things and go to these ministries once a week and end up giving a lot of money to these prophets?
You know, my message is very simple, you know. Being a young girl growing up in Soweto, you know, we have traditional churches, you know. Please, guys, please, you know, my sisters, my brothers, our mothers, fathers out there, please be vigilant, you know. Don't fall to these new churches and prophets, you know, because I've never visited this church, one of these churches. Now, I wouldn't know much what's happening behind the scenes, but my message is, do not fall in love with these new churches. Stick to your churches. You know, we were taught if you go to Catholic church from home, stick to your old churches rather, instead of falling in love with the so-called new churches. Yeah.
Some interesting stories there on Saturday morning as we look into these pastors, Prophet Bushiri and others that promised the earth. That was, of course, City Press Journalist Ntombizodwa Makhoba. Thank you very much for your time on Morning News today. Changing gears now, though.